All right, good morning from my Tabor City home. Today is April 16th, I think, um, and we are outside, and it is a absolutely beautiful day. And what we're doing today is we were trimming up these holly bushes, and this thing, um, love holly, absolutely love it. As you can see, we've already trimmed this one back. We got a bunch in the wheelbarrow here. It got real leggy and it just started taking off, and it's not what I want from it. I want it to be formal and structured and spaced out well. So we trimmed that one up. We've already done that. Now this one over here, we're going for the same thing. And one of the things I want to show you is, if you look at that, you see it's spaced right in front of the chimney for the fireplace. And I really would not want that. I would want it to be a rectangle, but I wouldn't want the rectangle to be any higher than the divider that draws a line across the two windows there. I'd like it to be about that height, no higher, and just a rectangle. And so because of that, one of the things I have learned from some of these bushes, the gardenia beside it, some of these other ones that I've trimmed, is I tend to take too little. And I'm not aggressive enough in my trimming. These gardenias that we trimmed last year, I'll show you exactly where we trimmed those at. Here. And you can see how much more growth we've experienced since that. That was pretty much a straight line across the plant right here. And from fall until now, that's where they've gotten. And one of the important things about these bushes is, gardenias, they bloom in the fall. You trim them in the fall because you trim a bush right after it blooms. So gardenias bloom in the fall, you trim them in the fall, and it gives them pretty much a full year to grow back and get ready for their next set of flowers. Camellias are the same thing. And so one of the things we're going to do today is we're going to trim up this holly. But to be quite honest with you, you look at the size of this branch in here, or this main trunk in here, that's bigger than what you're going to get with a pair of loppers, or as they call them on Gardener's Road, secateurs. So we're going to get chainsaw out. We're gonna knock this thing at a decent level, and then take the loppers there and kind of trim it up a little bit. This is kind of what you do in the spring. I mean, I know there's a lot of people who they want to take the spring and just enjoy the fact that the sun's coming out a little bit. Spring is that time of year when you build that foundation. Now, don't get me wrong, fall is very important to what's going to happen for your next year. Fertilizing your yard, getting compost into your garden beds, all of those things, extraordinarily important to set up a good base for next year. But when it comes to things like boxwoods and hollies and those kind of evergreen type of plants, spring is that time when you're going to kind of set the pattern. And what we're going to do today with that holly is we're going to cut it, and we're going to be aggressive in the way that we cut it. And then throughout the summer, we'll just fine tune it. And I'm pretty much not going to touch that gardenia. I'm just going to take the lesson I've learned and live with it and see where we get by the fall. I want to know how much growth I get by the time it blooms. It's my first year cutting gardenias, so I want to know how much growth I get by the time it blooms, so that I have a good mental index as far as when the fall comes this year and they bloom and we have all the flowers, and I think they smell just marvelous. But when that's done, I'll say, okay, well, we experienced 18 inches of growth. So this is where I want them to land next year, and I'm going to cut them 18 inches below that and try to kind of start to fine tune all those things. That's one of the most awesome things about gardening is when looking after your landscape is you get the opportunity to learn. And you can learn the different plants, you can learn their behaviors, you can learn, how they're going to react to something like a trimming. One of the other examples I'll give you is these camellias. Last year, they were pitiful, absolutely terrible. And I came in with a pair of loppers and I started hacking on them. And realistically, I left some pretty long and lanky kind of branches here, because I left this thing sticking out here and some of these really long branches sticking out here because I was afraid that I was cutting so many leaves off of this thing that I was going to run a pretty big potential for killing it. And as you can see, since that time, we're experiencing a lot of new growth coming off of some of the main beams here. And so one of the things I will do this spring is I'm going to come through and cut some of these branches that I left on here entirely because I was worried about, being able to sustain the plant with enough leaves to keep it, alive. Now I'm fairly certain that I have that and I have good growth, and so I can go be a little bit more aggressive in my cutting this year. Yeah, so we're gonna see. We'll see if we can hook up the camera and just let you guys see us trim up this holly. We'll try to maybe fast forward that so you don't have to sit through the whole thing. But this is a season to get out here and get on these bushes and take you a couple days and be aggressive with them and learn your lessons and then apply them to next year. All right? Let's see what we got. Now, whether or not Miss Tabor City Home, my Miss Tabor City Home, is happy with the results of that or not, waits to be seen. We'll see. But of course, always wear your eye protection and your goggles. These are, and your hand protection. These are a pair of Harbor Freight welding gloves, as you can see ripped. Not very satisfied with these. Already replaced them with a different set from Cobalt. Amazingly, it's one of the very few things I've ever not been very happy with from Harbor Freight. So, yeah, just use them in the yard, especially around these kind of things, rose bushes, all that kind of stuff. So, all right, let's keep going. See where we get today. All right, so here we are. This is the end result of trimming the holly bush. Again, it's pretty radical trim. And it's a very different look, but you got to start somewhere, and as this begins to fill in, we'll continue to try to shape it and get it where we want it. And it's a marathon, it's not a sprint. It takes some time to get it done, but we're going to be here a long time, and we got time. It'll be good. So from my Tabor City Home to you, let's get out in the yard. Let's do something with our hands. Plant something. Trim something. God bless. America's not a disposable nation. See ya.